No, I was born in Hereford, but my dad was in the RAF. We moved around quite a bit, and they eventually moved to Newbury after we lived in Germany in 1977. So I lived in Newbury for a good few years before coming to Manchester in '85. So I've actually been here, well, pretty much almost 30 years now. So that's where I'm from originally, Hereford. It's acoustic pop, really, some people call it urban folk. I also do a bit of film music as well, like film score type stuff. It's quite varied, but, bottom line, I'd call it acoustic pop. I suppose I come from a bit of a musical background, I suppose. My dad, he was in the RAF, but he did a bit of DJing and for a good 10 years or so. And I used to have my own little pretend radio show, as a lot of us used to have when we were kids. And he used to play the violin as well, but he gave up and joined the RAF instead. It was in the 50s and there wasn't much money around. And I suppose, and his mum used to play piano. But I started getting into the music around the punk days, actually. I was about 13. Started my own band, and it was the usual thing. No one had any proper instruments, but I suppose we did by the time it was 2 years later in 1980. We actually started doing gigs and stuff.
He's a Russian spy. He's a Russian spy. He's about
So there's a lot of the punk thing, but I suppose the sound we used to have in those days was sort of like a jingly jangly sound, like maybe the Smiths, the Orange Juice, that sort of sound, which a lot of people sounded like in the 80s.
Every day he walks down the street. He lives for people he wants to meet. He can't see them anywhere. He feels as if he is there.
And then I went more rougher kind of punk, kind of like Big Black. 88, 89, practicing down the Boardwalk, which was quite a legendary place, it turned out. Well, it is nowadays. It's where the Happy Mondays used to practice, and a certain ratio and all these other bands, and they were like, in the other rehearsal rooms, and later Oasis. And so I was doing a punk stuff until actually about 6 years ago.
This may not make sense to you, but I am through with all this messing around. Never found any solid ground.
And then a very close friend of mine, a bass player, had been playing bass all right through those 20 years or so. He died, and it was like I couldn't really. I just went to find another kind of way of doing my music, and I decided to go down the local folk club and just basically do acoustic stuff, which I've really enjoyed, and it's been a whole opening up for me, of my music, and I've really enjoyed doing that.
We had the fortune to see the rising yellow moon, so low and large and full.
But there are just a good bunch of people at the local folk club who, they play on each other's songs, they play on my songs, they like my music. I went down the local folk club alone, not knowing anyone, and they were just good friends, good supportive people who, after maybe the first year of me going there, they enjoyed playing my kind of songs, so I included them in the music and the arranging and stuff. There's lots of different instruments going in there and going in the mix, and so it's all good, full-sounding stuff for me. So I'm enjoying it.
You are hooked on Facebook. You just can't let it go. Change your status every hour. You just gotta let people know.
My music anyway is a bit kind of, I suppose people have called it a bit visual, a bit kind of filmic anyway, the style that I do, the chords I use and stuff like that. So and I love, Ennio Morricone and John Barry, Michael Nyman, all that sort of stuff. So couple of years ago, I was asked to participate in something called Video Jam, which is like an experimental evening of film and music, live musical accompaniment. So what happens, you get sent a short film, it could be a bit arty, whatever, and then it might be 5 minutes, 8 minutes, whatever, and then you have to compose a score for it and play it live on the night when the film's being screened. It's quite challenging, but very satisfying, rewarding, and you know, you get all these happy accidents that happen, you know, when it works superbly with the film, and sometimes it might not work as well, but generally it works really well. So it's been really good, and I made an album from all my contributions to Video Jam, which is called Short Scores. So Bert Vile is the production company, if you like. I also make films, low budget, lo-fi type things. I film people at the local folk club to promote that as well.
I'm coming home, coming home. My heart is ready to take me back. Now you will have me back too.
Light and Dark, it's basically a collection of recordings, some from the last few months, others from over the last couple of years. It's weird really, because this album, more than the other albums, is like me collaborating with myself 30 years ago, pretty much, in the early 80s.
And this is the new one.
I've always put my ideas down on tape and stuff like that. Found some tapes in the cellar a while back, and I was thinking, oh, that sounds all right. And so, yeah, so a combination of chord sequences and ideas from years ago, combined with, and also quite a few lyrics from years ago as well, mixed with what I have available, you know, in terms of instrumentation and stuff now. So, you know, it's great being able to bring these songs to life, really, you know, properly.
You're not a fashion or a passing phase. You are what you are to the end of your days. You're a real giant with callous shoulder skin, but you just seem to be because you let life in.
There's quite a few songs which have been written fairly recently as well, but it's a generally pretty poppy acoustic album, but with country tinges as well. There's some lovely songs with slide guitar on, and the trumpet and violin too, so they all work well together. We do some recording at Phil's, Phil who plays the bass, the guitar on bass, in his front room.
I have to pay.
Also, the local studio here, which is called Airtight, is a pretty decent studio, and we've done stuff down there as well. So it's a mixture of home recording and doing it in a proper recording studio, bringing it together and hoping it all sounds good in the end, which it does. It sounds pretty. I'm very pleased with it. It's my best. Well, I think so. It's my best album so far. I'm very happy with the whole thing. So I hope other people enjoy it as well. The website's bozhayward.com. And the Facebook is Boz Hayward Music, and the Twitter is @Boz Hayward. So I hope you enjoy it. And this song is called, is the main, well, first song on the album. And we're using it as a lead track to advertise the album. And it's called I Know Now.
I might be picked up, I might be put down. I might be a puppet, but I ain't no clown. You don't see me the way I've seen you. How could you think I'd be easy to fool? And how insensitive could you be? If you weren't happy, you didn't say why, you didn't say how. I know now. Did it get too heavy? Were you out of breath? Suffocating or drowning in a love pool of death? Did you feel I'd squeal if you told me the truth? That me, the parasite, sucked life out of you, if only true. And how insensitive could you be? A better way if you weren't happy. You didn't say why, you didn't say how. I know now. And how insensitive